Welcome back to the Unfiltered Political Lens podcast. Today we're going to be discussing the silent war on common ground and the death of truth. We're going to hop right into it as we do always with any other subject, so we're going to get right into it. We are living through a moment in history that feels invisible, but its effects are everywhere. It's not marked by explosions or headlines alone. It's unfolding quietly in our phones, our feeds, and even in our own minds. Today, I'm going to break down what I call the silent war for common ground. We colla- the collapse of shared reality in the digital age and how death of truth is reshaping the way we think, interact, and exist. This isn't just about politics, this is about perspective or perception, identity, and the future of the human connection itself. We have entered the era of death of truth, where information is weaponized to keep us divided rather than informed. This isn't just about politics, it's a fundamental shift in how human beings perceive existence. Understanding this silence war is the only way to protect your mind from the chaos of the digital age. We are no longer just consuming information, we are being shaped by it in ways most people don't even realize. In 2026, generative AI has pushed us into a new phase of reality where each person exists inside of a hyper personalized digital environment. Algorithms don't just suggest content anymore, they build the entire belief system around us. What you see, what you hear, and even what you believe is increasingly filtered through systems designed to maximize engagement and not truth. This creates what I call the mirage of choice. It feels like you have unlimited access to the ideas, but in reality, we are being guided through the narrow pathways that reinforce what we already think. Opposing viewpoints don't disappear, they're just filtered out of distorted to the point where they feel extreme or irrational. Over time, this isolates us from each other, even when we think we're more connected than ever. And then there's a deeper layer our brains actually prefer in the way human psychology is wired for validation. We are naturally drawn into information that confirms our beliefs because it reduces the mental strain. This is where neuroplasticity comes into play. The more we engage with the reinforced content, the more our brain rewires itself to expect and prefer it. We are literally training our minds to reject discomfort and seek out confirmation, even if it comes at the expense of truth. The biggest casualty in all of this is just shared baseline of facts. At one point in time, people could disagree on opinions while still agreeing on reality. Today, the foundation is all collapsing. People aren't just arguing about what something means, they're arguing about whether it even happened in the first place. And that will bring us to the architecture behind this division that's being caused. The modern platforms are not designed for truth, they're designed for retention, and the longer you stay engaged, the more profitable you are. And nothing keeps people engaged like conflict. So complex issues are stripped down into simple binary narratives. You're either on one side or the other, and there's no room for nuance, no space for middle ground. This is where the modern tribalism takes over. Identity becomes more important than accuracy, and loyalty to a group starts to outweigh the pursuit of truth. Once that happens, disagreement isn't just intellectual, it becomes personal. It feels like an attack, and that's exactly the kind of emotional reaction these systems are designed to amplify. Now, layer on top of that the rise of hyper personalized bot swarms. These aren't just random spam out accounts. They are coordinated AI driven systems that can mimic human behavior, amplify the certain narratives, and create the illusion that everyone agrees with a specific viewpoint. They manufacture consensus and they make fringe ideas feel dominant, and they also isolate anyone who questions them. Now, at the same time, we're seeing the emergence of genetic AI workflow systems that don't just generate content but actively deploy it and test it and optimize it in real time. These systems can adapt message based on your reactions, refining your approach to influence you more effectively with every interaction. This is influence at a scale and precision we've never seen before. Then comes the most dangerous shift of all, the weaponization of doubt. Deepfakes, voice cloning, and synthetic media, which have reached a level where seeing is no longer believing. The evidence itself is under attack, and this creates what's known as a liar's dividend. When everything can be faked, bad actors can simply deny the reality altogether. Real events can be dismissed to fake, and fake events can be passed off as real ones. We are moved from debating interpretations to debating existence. Did it happen? Is it real? Can anything be trusted? The consequences of this is massive. When the people don't share the same reality and communication breaks down, even the basic conversations become difficult because words no longer mean the same thing to everyone. Communities fracture and trust erodes, and without trust, the cooperation becomes nearly impossible. On a personal level, this creates a consistent mental strain. We are living in a state of ongoing information warfare. Every scroll and every headline and every video is competing for your attention and trying to shape your perceptions. This leads to stress, anxiety, and the sense that nothing is stable or certain anymore. On a societal level, it leads to paralysis. When institutions are no longer trusted or collected, action falls apart. It becomes incredibly difficult to solve large scale problems because the people can't even agree on the facts surrounding them. But here's the turning point: this is not irreversible. Reclaiming common ground starts with awareness. You have to recognize that not everyone you see is neutral. You have to question not just the content, but the systems delivering it. The digital literacy is no longer optional, and it's essential. That means fact checking, cross referencing, and slowing down before reacting. It also means doing something that feels uncomfortable. In today's environment, engaging with opposing viewpoints, not to argue, not to attack, but to understand. Breaking out of algorithmic conditioning requires international exposure to different perspectives. And most importantly, we have to rebuild trust at a human level. Not blind trust in institutions, but real grounded trust between people. Conversations that happen outside of algorithms. Connections that aren't filtered or manipulated. That's their common ground begins to rebuild. Because at the end of the day, the silent war isn't being fought on screens, it's being fought in our minds. And the side that wins will determine not just what we believe, but whether we can still find a way to live, think, and move forward together. If this message resonated with you, if it made you think or challenge the way you see the world when you're already taking the first step toward breaking out of the system, this conversation matters now more than ever. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you, as always, in the next episode. Peace.